At the beginning of the movie, some workers in a cave in Pennsylvania hear a strange sound coming from the hole they made. Suddenly, a strange and ugly creature emerges from the hole and eats the workers, killing them all. Then, because of this hole, millions of creatures came out of it and spread across the planet. These creatures were closer to the winged predatory demons. After that, a girl named Ally comes out and talks about herself. She says, "I've always been told that I'm talented because I can't hear. Even though I can't hear, I can feel everything around me and the people next to me." At the time, her friends, who were kids, would pick on her and make fun of her because she was deaf and couldn't hear. Instead of standing next to her, they would watch out for her eyes and play with their marbles to make her tired even more. Then, her father, Hugh, who used to work for the company, comes to try to reach a deal with a client who used to run a contracting business. And we see Glenn, his friend who worked at the time, with him. He's going to have trouble at work shortly. But his wife stops and calls him to tell him that other guys have harassed and bullied their daughter because she doesn't listen. Hugh said, "I'll finish what I'm doing and then head straight for the asphalt." Then her mother comes home and sees her son and grandmother. And the grandmother tells her that she brought some toys and electronics for their son Jude so that his intelligence would grow and he would be mature and sane. But his mother tells him to stop playing games and study, "You loser." She was walking down the street alone at the time, but her friend Rob came up behind her and covered her eyes. She knew it was Rob because he asked her, "Do you know me from somewhere?" She told him that his hand smelled like a Twix. After that, she goes for a walk with Rob and spends time with him. Rob then tells her they will buy a car with his family at the end of the week. "You say I also wanted to drive myself, but you should know it was because of my dad." But Rob told her, "Don't worry, girls. Every day I'll come to you and drive you myself, and I'll take a few turns like that." She agreed with me and asked, "Teacher, when we see, will you betray me or will you believe what you say?" When she gets home, her mother is worried and asks, "Hanum, why are you so late?" Ally answered, "I was with Rob." And her mother asked, "Is Rob just a coworker, or is he, X?" But the person who told her that said, "No, it's just a coworker, and it could be X and Crash, Mrs. Gardens." Then, if the dog's hair is standing up because he's scared and he's pointing up at the sky from the window, you go up to him and know that something strange is about to happen. She gets tired of being at home at night and goes for a walk in the garden to relax. In El Janena, she meets her grandmother. Her grandmother also liked to have fun and smoke cigarettes in the middle of the night. After that, her grandmother worries and fears that the girl who seduces her will hurt her, so she makes a deal with her and tells her, "I only drank because it was wine, but my daughter, I'm not in the mood. If you want makeup, just count it and don't tell anyone." And she told her, "That's too bad, Tita. I'll go drink with you." As she returned to her room, she spoke up again and said, 3 years ago, I lost my grandfather and grandmother in an Arab accident. I also lost my hearing, but my father lost a lot because of it." When she returns to her room, she opens her tablet and finds one of her crickets inside. He sent her a video of large groups of strange birds flying across the sky and migrating in a peculiar way. Then, her father, Hugh, comes in to see how she is doing, find out what's new, and see if she needs anything normal. And he asks her about Rob, the boy her mother told him about. But she tells him that Rob is good, is learning to turn the signal for her, and will always be by her side, making her father happy. After making sure everything is fine and that he is beautiful, "My father is a grape," he leaves her and walks away so the girl can sleep. Ally slept, but her mother would wake her up in the middle of the night and tell her, "You have to wake up because something strange is going on in the world." She worries about what she doesn't understand and sits with the rest of her family in front of the TV to figure out what happened. The news said strange attacks were happening in all 50 states, like Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and that small cities were more likely to be attacked than big cities. These attacks aim at people and kill both them and any sick goats. Hugh was surprised by what happened at the time because, at first, they thought terrorists made these attacks, but then they found out they were done with chemicals. But when they switched to another channel, they find out that in the end, they said that all of this was caused by strange creatures that lived in the past and have now returned to the world. They are working together to destroy the whole world and not leave a single living worm in it. And the media started showing horrible, hard-to-watch videos of people's body parts lying on the ground and scattered all over because of these demonic creatures. And all of this is because a group of people working in old caves could break down a rock wall that kept us from seeing these strange creatures. And the people who were attacked told the other people that they shouldn't make a sound or shower because these demon animals move when they hear something. Here, the media shows a video of the workers working in the cave. The footage shows demonic creatures coming out from under the ground, and this cave had been closed to them for millions of years. Hugh and the rest of his family watched the video of the demonic creatures coming from the ground. It is a strange, beautiful, and suspicious scene. At the time, people were terrified of the demonic beasts that looked like birds but had longer and bigger wings. Then, while they are at home, they hear planes flying to where they are thought to be trying to control the demons. Hugh and Glenn run out quickly to find out what's going on. Then they go to another family and tell them to turn off their phones so that demons don't hear them and attack them. They decide they must leave the house immediately to find a safe place. After that, they get their bags and everything else they'll need, and they leave quickly in their car, taking big weapons with them to help them on the long road so they can get to a safe place as soon as possible. Hugh didn't like that Glenn had a gun, but Glenn said, "Someone told you we're going to hunt mice. We, teachers, are entering the Third World War between these demons and humans." Hugh and the rest of his family were with him in his car. Bean and Glenn were riding with him to show them the way. They get in their car and drive away after that. At that time, the whole world seemed strange and dangerous. Families with kids were always kept away by transportation and the metro so monsters wouldn't hear them and attack. A woman was riding the metro with her baby son, and her son, who worked as a shower operator, was with them in the tunnels. Here, everyone in the metro threw her out, and when she took her son and walked through the tunnel with him, the valley cried. Here, a lot of demons attacked her, killed the woman and her son, and got rid of them. All of this happened in front of the other people on the subway, who couldn't breathe so they wouldn't fall over like the woman and her baby. On the way, she talks to her owner, Rob. Rob knows that his family has decided to stay home and not go anywhere because there is no longer a safe place outside. But I knew their family had made a different choice and gone to another safe place. At that time, Rob told Ally to take care of herself until they could meet up again. He asked her to promise that they would rather talk to each other all this time, so he wouldn't have to worry about her. She did, and I can tell you that she kept her word. Hugh's family keeps traveling in Arabic and stops in rest to rest along the way. And Jude was very scared and worried about what was going on, but his father told him not to worry and to be like him and his uncle Glenn, who were the lions of the forest and nothing could stop them. At that time, a man comes out of the rest and wants to kill the dog because demons come to his voice. Hugh tries to guide him and let him know you can't hear him, but he calms down, puts his gun away, and does whatever he wants. At that time, the man asked Hugh for his Arabic keys. Hugh pulled them out to give them to him, but Glenn was shot in the leg so that the man wouldn't kill their dog or hurt anyone in Hugh's family. They get in their car quickly and leave the man on the ground, screaming because he is in pain. Before these demons eat him and kill him, they stay with him or help him. On the way, they find that the road is very busy and that all the cars are stopped because so many people are moving to avoid being attacked. Then Glenn says, "I have another quick way to get us to where we want to go as quickly as possible." While they were on the road in the middle of the forest, a group of very large deer ran in front of the cart. Glenn turned the cart quickly to avoid them, but this caused the cart to flip over and be destroyed in the middle of the forest. Glenn was hurt badly, and his leg was stuck. He was in the car and couldn't get out. But Hugh tried to help him and reassure him that he would get him out of the car safely. But Glenn tells him that if he doesn't walk with his family, he will be burned. Hugh takes his family for a ride in his car, and at that moment, evil things come to the sound of the dog barking. Hugh gets their dog out of the car and wakes him up to protect his family. And she was so upset about her dog at the time. After that, Hugh goes to check on Glenn and help him, but when he gets there, he finds that Glenn died when he set fire to the demonic creatures to scatter them, bring them to him, and keep them away from Hugh's family. Hugh then goes back to Arabic. Because the night was coming, they decided to walk through the forest on their feet until they found a place to hide until morning. At the time, they didn't know how to drive the car so that it wouldn't make noise and bring demons to them. After that, they walk for a long time through the forest. When they stop to rest, they look for any kind of shelter until they find a place in the middle of the forest where they can hide until morning. After that, they walk toward this house until nightfall, making sure not to make any noise, so the demons don't hear them and come after them to eat them. When they get to the house, the owner comes out with a gun to stop them from going inside. Hugh tries to calm her down so she won't be drawn to the evil creatures, but it doesn't work. When the demons heard her voice, they attacked her and slowly ate her body until they had to cut it off. Then look for any way or opening they could use to get inside. Hugh finds a tunnel that goes right into the house and goes through it to get to the house and look for a good place for them to live. Then he tells his family to go quietly into the tunnel to get to the house. They go into the tunnel one at a time, and their son Judd and the others follow in order. Inside the tunnel, Judd sees a snake in front of him, which scares him and causes a commotion. You can hear the demonic creatures, and one of them goes into the tunnel and eats the snake. Another one comes over and bites the grandmother's leg very hard. Hugh Abu Ali decides in this scene that he will find a way to save his family. Then he uses a big winch to bring demons to him. Then he brings the rest of his family inside and starts to care for his mother, who is in a very bad way because she got a strong bite. After that, she goes upstairs to her room to spend the night there and checks on her owner, Rob, by talking to him. Rob's condition, on the other hand, is a mess. You worry about him and tell him to look after himself. After that, she asks him about his father and mother, but Rob tells her they are dead and killed by demons. The grandmother's condition is getting worse, so she needs medicine and antibiotics as soon as possible to help her feel better. But the problem was that they didn't have the antibiotics they needed at home. The solution is for them to go to any pharmacy and get the treatment they need. Then, he and Ally decide to go together to get these medicines. They take the weapons they need with them and say goodbye to their families, who ask them to look after them until they return. Then Hugh and his daughter Ally go outside and walk very slowly and quietly so that the demonic creatures don't attack them. At that time, demons roamed the streets and hung out on trees and power lines, waiting for someone to make a mistake so they could attack him with the sound he made and eat him. Along the way, they also see streets full of dead people. On these dead bodies was written a warning that no one should make a sound or talk. So you don't hear the sounds of demons. After that, they find a pharmacy on the road and go inside. When they come out, we see a stranger walking behind them, watching them and following their every move. In the pharmacy, they find the medicine they need, but they also find out something dangerous. The demonic creatures have laid their eggs in closed places. When someone enters the interior, a sound appears as a warning, so the demonic creatures know that there are people there and attack them. The demons come into the pharmacy immediately, so he tells his daughter not to talk or make any noise so that they don't hear her. Hugh Abu Ally told his daughter, "The solution is to start a fire in the room so we can set off the fire alarm and scare the birds away without them hearing our voices while we are outside." The alarm goes off, and all the birds fly toward the sound. This gives Hugh and his daughter a chance to get out of the pharmacy. In fact, they light a straw and bring it close to the alarm. As soon as they leave the pharmacy, they run into the person who is watching them. He comes up to them and introduces himself. He tells them that he is a priest at a church in their city. This priest invites them to join the silent group he started, but they turn him down and walk away because they can't stand him or the way he looks, thinking he's crazy and not normal at all. After that, they go home and treat their grandmother to make sure she's okay. After that, the man sitting next to her father, Hugh, says to him, "These demonic creatures must have a way out or a weak spot. They won't kill all humans until humanity is gone, so they must have a way for us to get rid of them." She keeps talking to me and then tells her father, "I read in books that these demons once found people dead in icy areas or other places where it was cold, so I think that cold may be their weak point." The priest then goes with his group to Hugh's house. And the priest wants them to come with them. Hugh shoots him, but instead of killing him, he tells him to leave. The priest walks with the group that is with him at that time. Then, she calls Rob at night to see how he's doing. Rob tells her that they've moved north because there aren't as many demons there and it's safer for everyone. At this time, the house door starts banging, and when they go to open it, they find a little girl who is alone and scared. And they open it and go with them inside. Hugh's family tries to find out more about the girl and how she got to the house, but she can't talk, and when Hugh opens her mouth, he sees that half of her tongue has been cut out. And at that time, when she was worried about getting enough sleep, she was accompanied and had the feeling that something strange was going to happen. The priest set this girl up as a trap so that he could lure demons into the house. They put alarm-ringing phones with her so that they would all go off at the same time. They also put phones around the house so that demons could come in and destroy them because Hugh's family wouldn't join the silent group. Chaos breaks out when he and his family try to turn off all the phones that are still working before the demons come and break into their house. Ally is upstairs in her room when the demonic creatures break the feathers of her nets and get into the house. Her mother comes quickly and saves her at the last second before the demonic creatures eat her. Hugh was able to take the phones off the girl the priest had sold to them as a trap, and he threw them all into the kitchen sink to silence her. When everything was quiet, and they were done making all the sounds, they were surprised to hear another phone ring on their roof. At that time, demons were able to get into the house, and everyone ran outside as fast as they could to get away. At this point, the group with the priest can kidnap Ellie, but Ellie's mother comes out to save her and screams loudly to blame them for the demonic creatures. On the other hand, the grandmother, Hugh, and Judd were fighting with the priest and the rest of the group with her to protect themselves from the priest's betrayal. But Hugh's family works together and gets rid of the priest and the other people with them.